Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ricardo Ortiz. I will be conducting today's Exhibitor Academy along with my colleague Jimmy Ruiz. WM Symposia welcomes you to the Exhibitor Academy. This was not possible and isn't possible without their assistance and giving us the feedback required based on surveys filled out during exhibitor feedback meetings held during the event. Today's objective is to discuss on how to increase your company's ROI by learning how to get the most out of your exhibit at WM 2016. Let's begin by reviewing the show's schedule.
The exhibit dates for WM Symposia will be March 6th through the 9th. Exhibitor move-in is scheduled for March 5th from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. March 6th from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. will be hand carry only items. The show floor will open March 6th at 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. March 7th from 9:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. March 8th from 9:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. and March 9th from 9:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. Exhibitor move-out is scheduled March 9th from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m.
What we will be discussing today is referred to exhibitor best practices. Basically, better prepare for an event, knowing your objectives, knowing what your outcome is going to be, and forecasting where you should be by the end of the event. Let's look at the landscape of trade shows today. This is a statistic done by the Center of Exhibition Industry Research. The group is called CEIR. They are highly integrated within the trade show event industry, and these results come from their polling year after year. Did you know that 81% of trade shows attendees have buying authority? 48% of attendees say that face-to-face interactions are more important than ever. That 67% of all attendees represent a new prospect for exhibitors. 76% of attendees plan their booth visit in advance. Therefore, pre-planning using your marketing and advertisement dollars is key when getting those attendees to your booth. Exhibiting at WM 2016, you have access to over 800 companies within your industry. Continuing with the landscape of the industry.
Let's look at the attendee top shopping needs. On a scale from 1 through 7, 1 being very unimportant and 7 being very important, at 5.07, they like to gather information for upcoming purchases. At 5.14, they like to compare brands. At 5.26, they have questions answered on the spot. At 5.33, they like new production introductions. At 5.51, they like the ability to talk to experts. And at 5.54, they like to see new technology. Now let's look at the most popular ways attendees prefer to interact on an exhibition floor. From 0 to 8% of attendees, at 15.5, they like to watch videos. At 44.4, they like to talk and share with other attendees. At 48.4%, they like to talk and share with vendors they already know. At 57.8%, they like to collect and read literature on exhibitors, products, and services. At 58%, they like to have hands-on interaction with the product. And at 58.9%, they like to see product demonstration.
Key to success. We have created a roadmap to success that would help guide you in knowing what your objectives are and what the outcome should be. Totally having participation within the event meeting space or during the exhibition floor. You probably should be asking yourself these following questions. Do I have a clearly defined picture of what success looks like for my organization while participating at the WM 2016 event? Do you understand the goals and needs of your target attendees? Do I have an experience and environment that aligns your needs to those of your customers and prospects attending the show? Do you have a comprehensive plan that includes strategy, and a creative session? Have you decided what the budget will be? Do you have a timeline, and do you have a dedicated duty roster during the show hours? In thinking of a clear roadmap to success, we have come up with this session, which is called the 6 R's. First, the right intelligence. Know your audience and their needs. Using your organization's marketing and sales goals, create a set of realistic objectives during the event. Second, the strategy. Align your objectives with the needs of the trade show audience. Create a strategy that will guide creative development for your booth and for the audience once attending your experience. Third, having the right experience. Design a booth experience with activities, with information. Make it impactful so that when they do exit your booth, they are thinking about the conversations had and taking place of the products and services your organization they're representing. Put yourself in your audience shoes and ask, what should I know? How should I feel? And what should I do to be interested in someone's products and services? Fourth, the right actions. Treat your WM 2016 participation as a campaign. Communicate with your audience targets before, during, and after the show. Pre-planning, using your advertisement dollars and marketing is very important, getting people to your booth, and the follow-up after the show during the post is very important. You don't want to be forgotten after the event is over. Multiply touch points should be used to tell a compelling story that will drive them to your booth and create a desire to know more about your company's offerings and products. Fifth, the right measurement. Once you have defined what success looks like for your participation, set measurable objectives for desired results. This should be done during the pre-planning stages leading up to the event itself. You should be asking yourself these following questions. Do I know the number of qualified leads I should have by the end of the event? WMS offers lead retrieval systems to help you track this. Do I know the number of face-to-face customer meetings I should be having during the event? Let WMS help you in booking your meeting space during the event to be able to accomplish these. Use social media interactions to help with the exposure and your presence during the event. Use hashtag WMS 2016 to connect with other attendees. Ask yourself, how many number of information requests should I obtain? How many number of prospects meetings should I have? What number of bid opportunities should we obtain or have by show end? What is the number of demonstrations that can be conducted within the time schedule allowed during the event? And how many sales should we obtain as a whole within a 2 or 3 day period of event running? If you need help for setting up your lead retrieval or for booking your space during the event, please reach out to Melanie at wmarizona.org. And finally, the right result. Leverage your show success into continuous success through follow-up. That is the most important aspect of taking a sale from a prospect and converting it into a final sale. You must use that follow-up. Stay fresh. Let that be by handwritten letters, thank you notes, email follow-ups, pre-setting capability presentations with your prospects, or just a set schedule appointment booking, trying to leverage that prospect in closing that sale. Capture your learnings and best practices from the show. Use those to plan for your next year's cycle. Set those metrics for year 1 and to exceed year 2, 3, and moving forward throughout your years participating in WM Symposia.
Planning for success. Where you should be as of today with your pre-planning. Outline the purpose for participating in WM 2016. Read your contract carefully, understand the terms, show rules, the payment schedule, and the space assignment method. Prepare a budget. Update your company profile. Determine exhibit objectives. Decide if new exhibit is needed. If so, begin the design process and plan the WM 2016 advertising and sponsorships for more visibility. At 4 months out, select your staff and register them as soon as possible for the lowest rate if you have not done so already. Make airline and hotel reservations. Determine the exhibit needs if you're using existing properties. Schedule for refurbishments, additions, or any changes needed. Communicate with primary vendors like your exhibit house, shipping companies, installation and dismantle, labor, regarding services needed and dates. Develop a floor plan for your exhibit space. Finalize new exhibit designs and execute show-related marketing plans. At 3 months out, carefully read and review your exhibitor service manual. Register before December 31st or as soon as possible to receive the lowest rate. Review the exhibit floor plan and note target dates and restrictions. Plan any in-booth presentation and demonstrations. Create a list of required services, noting deadlines for early bird discounts, and distribute the show plan to staff. Reserve any additional meeting rooms, like hospitality events, press events, etc. Select catering menus for hospitality events and press events. Submit authorization forms if you are using any exhibitor-appointed contractors. And plan pre-show meetings. At 2 months out, preview new custom exhibit offerings. Finalize any graphics and artworks and printing you may need. Send information to other departments exhibiting in your booth. Prepare orders for drayage, electrical, cleaning, floral, any services you'll need for your exhibit space. Make sure to take advantage of any prepaid discounts and follow up on all promotions, making sure everything is ready to ship by the target date. Prepare printing materials. Develop briefing packets for your booth staff and schedule training for the booth staff at show site. At 1 month out, invite WM 2016 attendees to your booth using the provided attendee list. Follow up on shipping orders. Follow up on installation and dismantle schedules. Make sure you get an estimate on that cost. Call to reconfirm the airlines, hotel, car reservations. Make any changes needed. And follow up on target dates with all vendors. Confirm the availability of display products and literature. Send all needed materials by target shipping date to avoid express mail shipment. Distribute briefing packet, including training materials, to all booth staff. And set up and hold a pre-show briefing meeting in the office. Set up in-booth conference room schedules for prearranged meetings at shows. Determine date and time for briefing staff at the exhibit. Review agenda, purpose of show, demonstrations, rehearsals, and show specials. Ensure that you have the following items before leaving the show: important phone and cell numbers, traveler's checks, credit cards, copies of all orders and checks for services paid in advance, phone numbers and addresses of all your vendors, engineering certificate for exhibit, shipping manifest, return shipping labels, and additional badge forms.
Upon arrival, pick up your badges at the registration counters located in the exhibit hall or at the satellite desk at the Hyatt at the Renaissance. Book any excursions at the new concierge service desk located near registration. Check on freight arrival. Check with hotel about reservations for staff, as well as any meeting rooms or catering orders. Reconfirm on those. Find service area. Supervise your booth setup. Hold pre-show briefing and training for staff the day prior to the event and the day before and during 3 hours the event opening. During the show, make sure that you reserve next year's booth space. Conduct daily meetings with staff and review progress of objectives and make sure that necessary adjustments are done to maximize your experience. Make arrangements for booth dismantle and shipping. Attend the exhibitor feedback meetings and share your experience with WMS. Keep in mind that moving forward, any changes or to be able to help your experience while attending or exhibiting at the event, they need to know what your experiences have been in prior years. So this feedback is very necessary for them to adapt and make changes as needed. For the post-show, please make sure that you supervise the dismantle of your booth and is properly packed. Ensure that proper follow-up with your leads are done after you return to your home base offices. Have a debriefing meeting with the staff and capture any learnings or metrics that can be used for following years to be able to keep you on top of those prospects and to be able to help you to close those sales and generate the ROI that you were wanting to going into the event. Complete the exhibitor post-conference survey. Again, very crucial to know your experience, so that way we can improve your experience during the event itself. Today we're not going to be taking questions over the phone for sake of time, but we do have posted here email addresses and cell phone numbers for you to reach out or to be able to send your questions. What we're going to do is take those questions, generate them, and consolidate them just onto one document, answer every single question that's received, and distribute to the entire group that has attended today, so that way you could get all the answers whether you had a question or not. I will leave these numbers and addresses up for a few minutes for you to be able to track them and make note of them. And we thank you for your time and participation today during the Exhibitor Academy, and hope to see you soon at WMS 2016. Thank you.